and welcome. Thank you so much for joining us for Unleash Your Potential. This is our introduction, and we're looking to share our wisdom with you for your optimizing your life. We want to be able to help you find your most potential in yourself. We all have capability and the potential to do that, and how we use it is how it's important in life. Just like the sun as it's coming up and lowering every day. It has potential, and the energy increases and decreases as it flows through the sky. We feel that, we see that, and it helps us with our rhythm of life, just like the rhythm of the sun. And part of that is integration. So, what does well-being mean to you? And I'll let Bob answer this question.
But and there's can be so many definitions of that, right? Depending on your circumstance and place in life. But in general, there's two parts in my thought about this. And one is our potentials are all different. And so your potential may be different than mine. You may be better at music or physicality, whatever it is. Um, and that's okay. That's an individual thing. The second part is integration. And this is when we can reach our full potential that is available to us. And what that means, integration of mind, body, and spirit, like it says on this slide. All three working together in balance and in harmony. That's my thought.
And so when they
How about
do
you, Em?
work in harmony, we're able to feel that full potential coming from the earth up through the body and rising out of the crown of the head, connecting us to that consciousness beyond and our greater spirit. As we're talking through this and that integration, it's important. We're going to talk about 9 different topics, and we've got 3 for body, 3 for mind, 3 for spirit. During the actual sessions after the introduction today, they are going to be body, mind, and spirit, 3 together, and then repeating 3 together, body, mind, and spirit, and 3 more together, body, mind, and spirit. So they're going to look a little bit in a different order. And I'm going to share with you right up front, just so you know, we are offering this as something you can join for online, something you could join for one. And we'll put a link in the comments down below so you can see this, or so you can learn a little bit more as we go through all the sessions. It is great to know that you can join in the conversation in the Facebook group at any point on all of these topics and be able to be a part of that at any time. So just look in the comments down below. You'll see some links to that Facebook group too. Anything else you want to add for this integration in the 9 things that we're doing together, Bob?
Yeah, just one more thing with this that, so many of the workshops you might go to or watch online are super focused on one issue. And how I like to think of this package is a roadmap to wellness, is that we are going to be talking about all of the different things in each of these sessions where you can get help in reaching your full potential. Because there's so many ways to build your health and well-being and potential. And we won't have time to cover them all. That's we're not going to pretend that we're going to tell you everything out there, all the details. But this is going to be more like a roadmap, and I think you'll learn a lot about resources out there that you've never even thought of before. So I'm excited to share that.
Yeah. Thank you, Bob. That's an
So
important
let's
part.
dig in a little bit more to each of these.
Yeah. Thank you, Bob. That's an important part of where we're headed. And here we go. Beforehand, we're going to do a quick introduction. There's a little bit about me up here, my yoga and my engineering background. as well as life coaching and ultimately working together with others to self-actualize myself and those around me so we can connect to spirit and our greater purpose. I do like to have a little bit of fun and I do care about the environment too. And Bob,
Yeah, and what I love about your experience, Emily, is that emphasis on the Eastern traditions and wisdom. And that brings such an important part to our teaching. Because I'm more focused on the Western science side. I've been a counselor since 1985, specialized in several different areas, but most recently on relationships and in particular, how two brains work together. So I love studying neuroscience and brain science and just what that brings to helping us reach our potential.
so thank you, Bob, for your introduction. And the first part here is body. So taking a few moments just thinking about what are the characteristics for you for a healthy body? And I'm going to turn it back over to Bob to let him give a couple characteristics for what he defines as a healthy body.
One of the most important things, our body is uh, sort of the house of our mind and spirit. And so just safety is a big part, feeling safe in your body, having energy to do what you want. And those are two big things I think important in a healthy body. And just being aware of all of the signals that your body is sending to you. And we'll talk more about that in a second. But how about you, Emily? What do you think in a healthy body?
So for me, it's partially that mind-body connection. Yoga does that for me. That's how it's been important in my life. It's helped me build up different emotional strength as well as spiritual strength and helped me live the life that I lead today. Back when I started yoga, it was about the feeling good in the body, moving the body. The meditation felt amazing, and I started learning about that. It helped relieve a lot of stress, and it became really important during some of my changes in life when I was moving or different relationships that were happening. And supported me through those things and gave me a way to be more resilient. So, from a body perspective, that's where it came. In fact, the Ayurveda did as well. And it was important to me to have that as an engineer to be able to do all the things that I was doing. And that's where, when we're diving into these different examples and what they help us do, we want to be able to share the benefit of what they could do with you and how they can support you. So, mentioned a little bit about movement and how that has supported me, and the nutrition gets into Ayurveda and starting to build some of that resilience. We can talk a little bit about the breath and how it can give energy or help you relax. And Bob does a great job on deep relaxation and interoception. Do you want to add a little bit about here about what that can do for a person?
Yeah, with body again, it's about having the energy to do what you need to do, number one. And so a lot of what we're going to talk about with the body is how to keep your body energized and be able to use it when you need to. The second part then is knowing those signals. That's the interoception that you see about halfway down the list there. And so that your body tells you when you need rest, when you're ready to deal with some stress or problems, then you need that extra energy. So we're going to be talking about how you can control your body in boosting energy when you need to, in relaxing and resting and recovering when you need to. So just being able to go back and forth, that's what we call resilience, is when you're in control of your body. You can gear up when you need to, and you can recharge and get ready for the next thing in your life.
Yeah. And it's a beautiful thing, that resilience, right? If we're working long hours, which was somewhat what I was doing, or using a lot of brain power in my engineering days, as well as the physical of being in the field, being in the office, balancing that, finding a harmonious schedule, having relationships, living further away from family, in my case at the time, all of these things from a body perspective started helping and build that in. The body does start to speak though, right? That fatigue or those things where we're like, hey, we might need to take a break, really come in. And for me, that body mind connection was coming through yoga. But there are ways too that the mind or the body has an effect. And so, what characteristics are there of a healthy mind? For me and my experience, and go ahead and take a few moments to think about that. Feel free to jot it down too if you've got a paper and a pen with you. For me and my experience, part of it was, well, if I'm getting tired while looking at my spreadsheets or while I'm walking upstairs out in the field, that's a different experience. That's fatigue of the body with the stairs, right? But fatigue of the mind while I'm crunching data and numbers and putting reports together. And that's a different thing when interacting with others too, which I'll get to in a little bit. But it also started showing up beyond that for me in physical interactions where if I wasn't taking care of the mental release, I started feeling tension. My shoulders would be tight, and so I loved massages, right? Which is a physical thing. There is Reiki massage, right, and other things where they're moving energy. And technically, anytime we're rubbing out the issues in the tissues, anytime we're stretching, we're lifting, those are also forms of massage. And so it's important to recognize that because it's partially the mind saying, hey, Emily, you're getting tense, making sure you're taking care of not just that physical, getting the movement, but getting some more meditation, some more time. And then there were more emotions coming through for me. And that's where in the sessions, Bob will talk a little bit more about shadow and what that happens with self-compassion and how that can help us. But before we dive into that in the sessions, what does it mean for you, Bob?
So for me, mind is the ability, a healthy mind is the ability to have open awareness and be aware of everything around you, including your body and how your body's feeling inside, what's going on around you. But then also, we have to be able to focus our attention and being able to focus, get things done, read a book, work, build a house, whatever it is, that requires focus and blocking out some of the distractions. And then the third part of a healthy mind is kindness and the ability in any situation, even if you get cut off when you're driving down the road, instead of road rage, is that you can respond with kindness, compassion, and understanding. So if you struggle with any of those areas, this might be uh, a good series of workshops for you. And so this is some of the strategies we're going to go through. Meditation is like physical exercise for the mind, and a lot of these are going to be like how I think of stargazing. I know that sounds like a weird connection, but I'm going out stargazing this weekend, so that's what comes to mind. And but you have to get outside of the city limits to a dark space. Because when you're in the middle of a city, all the lights, you don't see the stars. And that's what happens with our mind. When we get too busy, too much going on, we don't really see the full potential of our mind. And so our performance starts to go downhill because there's just too much going on. So what are some of the things here for you, Emily, that you would focus on?
Yeah, so the too much going on is one part, and meditation opens us up to those. It basically takes the body, gets it in a relaxed state, and then we say, okay, what's going on up here in this space, our mental faculty, and whatever comes up, that might be something where we are holding tension. So for me, when I was holding tension from working long hours in the shoulders or in other parts of the body, it might have hurt in my hands. It might have hurt in my stomach, even though the tension was in the shoulder, affecting that. And so the meditation then would say, okay, how can I relax through the breath work or an affirmation or something to ease what's going on in the stomach? And ease what's going on in the shoulder, but what's really causing that? Is because if I wasn't, doing something and I didn't have an injury directly on that body part, it was a way for me to say, hey, what's the cause of that? And where it in the background? Is it something that's happening currently? Is it something in my interactions that's happening, or in a way that I can connect with others to reframe that through plasticity, to be able to use affirmations and reaffirm, hey, no, it's okay to take a break. You deserve the rest. You've got to be able to get good rest. It's okay to set a boundary, a self boundary around, I'm going to go to bed at a certain time, or I don't need to respond to that text message or that phone call right at that moment, if it's bedtime or if it's something where I needed that self care. And so became really important for that part. The meditation then helped those things come up and let me process them in a way where I could then respond better when I was around others, internally and externally, using that kindness that Bob talked about, using the self-compassion, my internal feelings about myself, and making sure that those are good. My own self-love being strong allows me to feel more loving towards others. And so recognizing all of that has transformed for me the process and what that is. And so if there's times that I was frustrated, even separate from the body tension, but frustrated, emotional things came up. Maybe I started recognizing maybe it was because of different things going on and that emotional knowing and emotional intelligence increasing as my different experiences occurred. And so we'll talk a little bit more about that and how it actually changes in the neuroscience in the brain. Bob's actually really, really great at doing the neuroscience and the neural pathways. So we'll be able to dive into that a little bit, as well as the self-compassion and the other parts of that.
One thing I'd like to add here
Mhm.
too, as we transition, is, if you struggle with being a caretaker, that takes a lot of stress. You're taking on a lot of stress. If you find you sacrifice for others and you don't get a lot back, those are all things that um, will will help you a lot in this series of workshops in the mind. And so let's transition to spirit then. And this is where I struggle a little bit from the Western science. The spirit stuff becomes kind of woo-woo for me. But one thing that is clear for me is spirit is all about connections, connections to ourself, connections to others, and connections to everything outside of us, including our higher power, God, however you want to call whatever that is. So this is where we're going to dive into connections. And a healthy connection for me is where you can tell the difference between what is you and what is outside of you. So you're in control um, what of what you give and what you take in. How about you, Emily? What does spirit mean to you? What's a healthy spirit?
For me, it's all about feeling that good intuition. So, not feeling the little bit of guilt when you do something one way or another way, or not feeling the anxiety of not knowing how to respond. Part of that is feeling like I'm fully connected. My potential is stronger. And that comes from practice, right? For me as a child, I was connected to spirit early. I believed all of that was part of it. I've definitely explored beyond just where I was connected to spirit in my childhood years. But now, currently, it's about feeling that inner sense of strength and purpose and feeling like I'm fully myself without worrying about, you know, what that person is going to think or how they're going to think about it, and knowing that I'm responding rather than reacting, right? In a positive and good manner, a kind manner with others, that compassion again coming out. And that's just a great thing to have that, because when we are connected to that spirit, we start to notice signs and signals around us in our external environment. We start to notice what it's like when we connect with nature. We emulate nature. We also feel those connections to others. We want to be around people. We want to be ourselves around people, and we find people that we can be like that. We also are able to, beyond that, feel happiness and contentment. That doesn't mean that you would never have loneliness, but like contentment on our own with ourselves, because our inner voice is speaking compassionately. We feel full of energy and our capacity is unleashed so that we can feel that with spirit. And so the three sections are about nature and connecting to others and higher consciousness or spirit. And how this has helped from my original story, you're kind of traveling through this process with me, but working long hours, working through the body, it was like, okay, now I'm releasing tension. And I was like, oh, but I have all these things I've got to process emotionally, mentally, my shadow work. So I started doing the mind part of it. And then I was like, oh, there's more. What's all this thing about connecting, and are they reading my mind if I'm thinking about them and then you get the phone call from the same person, and learning what that's about. But part of it, understanding, oh, I've now worked to unleash that potential, healed, released what I need to. And I can feel connected to a greater consciousness, all the other beings, all the energy in the world, and feel okay with that. And so we'll dive into that in different manners and how that affects the body and the mind through the spirit part as well. And Bob's section on boundaries is really, really wonderful. We'll get to practice some amazing things. What would you like to add for this section, Bob?
Well, I loved what you said. Two things in particular. One is the intuition. And for those people watching, if you think about a time where you've had that little voice in your gut, in the back of your mind, that says, oh, I better do this or I better not do that. And you've listened to it and seen that, oh, it was right. That little whisper inside. I think most people, when I do workshops and ask that question, most people raise their hand and say, yeah, I've had that experience where I felt that intuition and I listened to it, or maybe I didn't listen to it and I regret it, right? Um, so this is this series that's going to help you develop that intuition. And the other thing is really important here is, again, a connection to others. If you get anxious around other people, if other people are draining for you, again, this is a good series for you because we're going to talk a lot about that's all to do with boundaries and what to let in, what to keep out. And a lot of times that's hard when you're around other people because we are connected whether we like it or not. And you can imagine going in a room and you can feel the mood in the room. Maybe it's a good feeling, maybe there's tension there, but you can notice that. So that's what we're going to be developing in this series.
Thanks for adding that. It's a great connection, Bob. So, we're going to do a short example as a gift to you today and part of the experience. Our goal through today is to share with you about the event. Please check out the link down below to sign up for the event as well as the group. Even if you just like to have the conversation about these things and be with other individuals that are having those types of conversations. Our goal through this experience and our presentation today is to find at least one area that you can unleash more potential or you recognize where you can unleash more potential. If you've already got the answer to that, feel free to jot it down. The other is one thing you'd like to improve on your well-being, that overall aspect of body, mind, spirit integration, and what action you can do today to help support that. So we're going to go through a little bit of a process to understand and feel that. Okay, so taking a moment, we're just going to wiggle through the arms and the body. They can come up, the feet, maybe stamp the feet a little bit. Just getting some movement, simple, gentle. Let the bottoms of the feet touch the earth. Notice that they're touching the earth, right? We're making that mind-body connection. Feel free to close the eyes at this point. Hands may come to the belly, not required, but at least feeling the belly and the abdomen fill. Breathing. Through the breath, we receive energy of life, and this continues. If you did already set your goal, or you have ideas where your potential can be released, breathe that into the body. Just recognize how it feels. Start to open up and ask the question, what action can you take today? What does that look like? Just feeling spirit and intuition speaking through us. We're in our spirit portion of the experience. Just relaxing here for a few moments. And then slowly, like you to open your eyes, come back to the present. Feel free to jot anything down on a sheet of paper that came up while we were resting there. And I hope that that gives you some good action for today and gives you a taste of the experience or a part of what you might experience from the topics we introduced. We truly appreciate being able to help serve you. And thank you so much for joining us and watching this video with us. We are grateful that you exist and we can serve as part of you. What would you like to add, Bob, for our closing?
I just am honored to be a part of your life when you're watching this and just sending positive vibes out to you and the whole universe. So thanks for joining us. Uh, join the chat in Facebook and hop on one of those workshops if you find one that you think might be valuable.
We'll see you soon.